Welcome, friends, to another episode of Dan Tremblay Music. Today we talk about mastering. We have a little mastering shootout. I compare mastering using Ozone 6. I know it's an old version of Ozone, but it's the one that I have. SoundCloud mastering and LANDR mastering. We compare those three. We do a little blind test in Logic, and we check it out. And I have to tell you that the results were surprising. I was surprised by this process, pleasantly surprised. There's a little foreshadowing for you. Let's get right to it. So real quick, we're just going to talk about price and options and that sort of thing between the various mastering platforms. There's a host of other ones. I know eMastered is another big one, which I didn't look in for this comparison. I figured 3 was probably enough. So we talk about LANDR, LANDR, Montreal-based company. They've been around for quite a while. So artificial intelligence, in terms of plans, they have a kind of a per month subscription type thing where you have, a certain number of masters per month, depending on which or how many tracks you're putting out on a regular basis. And they also have purchase a single master, which I thought it was kind of neat to have that available. So actually that's what I used for this particular tutorial, because I just wanted to try it out one time, see what it sounded like. And there's a lot of other bells and whistles and stuff like that. I didn't look into that a whole lot. Literally, we're just comparing straight up wave master between LANDR SoundCloud and Isotope Ozone, older version of Ozone. So there you have it. There is LANDR. So then we have SoundCloud. So I had the basic account for the longest time. SoundCloud was kind of the go-to place if you're not familiar with SoundCloud back in the day in terms of releasing audio. Billie Eilish really broke through SoundCloud. When Ocean Eyes came out, it was on SoundCloud. It was mastered on, I think the mastering, the recording and everything was done by Phineas, put out on SoundCloud, and next thing you know. So I think it broke. It was responsible for breaking a lot of artists. People have been navigating away from it for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. I've never had a bad experience with SoundCloud, but I feel like people have kind of started to migrate away from it. That being said, they seem to be rolling out a whole bunch of new features and different things and distribution and that sort of thing. And mastering is one of those things. So I thought, hey, might as well give it a try. So I actually have a Pro Unlimited account already. At least I think that's the account that I have. So yeah, that's the one that I have. So I get 3 free masters every month. So I already had an account, so I figured, wow, that's a no-brainer. Try it out. So that's what I went with that. And then I'll go over Ozone in a minute. Okay, so LANDR, this is pretty much what you're looking at. This is your window. Okay, so I've already done the master. I didn't want to go through the whole process. I'll just go through the results in a minute. But this is the original song pre-master. Okay, so you just click on the master button. It gets you a dialogue, okay? And then it just has a toggle switch between the original and the master. This is a really handy feature, volume match. This is a feature that also is in Ozone, which is super handy because the biggest thing that people notice or what they hear is they conceive as being better when we're talking about mastering is volume, just sheer volume. It tricks your ears into thinking, hey, that sounds better. So really good feature to have the volume match because for sure your mastered version is going to be louder because it's more compressed. So you're dropping the high end and the low end of the dynamics and squashing everything down. You can load a reference track in there. All right, I didn't try that, but that's a nice feature to have. It's telling me that the master is already in my library. So not a whole lot of features in here. We have style, warm, balanced, open, loudness, low, medium, high. I very quickly kind of, went back and forth between original, master, and volume match, and I just kind of clicked these various things, and I found that, no surprise, sticking right in the middle was the best bet. So nice, balanced, and medium, and that's it. Click on the master. You purchase it. You can do it as a PayPal option. You download the wave, and that is it. It was very fast, super straightforward. The previous part of this, which I skipped over, is you have to upload your track, obviously, to the platform first. But that being said, extremely quick, easy process. Okay, then we have SoundCloud. SoundCloud works a little bit differently. So what it looks you asks that you do is try to find the sweet spot. Okay, so you're trying to find a place where you have the biggest change in dynamic range, where you have kind of an ambient intro, and then we have kind of like you get the beat drop right about here. So I kind of got in here. So this is kind of a tricky song, I think, for artificial intelligence to handle, because it's not a straight up pop song or straight up rock song. It's kind of crossing genres, and with the ambient intro and then the kind of beat drop at the end, it's almost like two songs put together. It seems kind of like a common theme if you've been watching my channels, what I do. So I chose that area, hit continue. Mastering, it's one of those things. It's never going to be as good as paying a true mastering engineer that's all they do is mastering with a perfectly treated room and the nicest speakers, and tons of experience. Are we ever going to get that good using any of this? Doubtful. But these are great solutions for the budget conscious people, especially if you're putting out a lot of products. So here you go. You saw how fast that was. So we have Thunder, Sunroof, Aurora, Clear Sky. Thunder is kind of like a low end type thing. Anyway, you fool around with it. Basically what you're talking about is EQ. I'm sure that it's more complicated than that, but really that's what I'm hearing. So I found Thunder was the one that I liked the best. Again, we have the mastering in intensity. So how much are you applying? I think they're probably they're referring to limiting and compression there. Proposed loudness and tonal changes. Anyway, how much do you want to apply? I fooled around with the slider, and I found, again, shooting right up the middle is going to give you the most natural result. We have, again, the original versus master toggle switch. I didn't see a loudness matching button. So that's one thing that's on LANDR that is not on SoundCloud. So that might be a feature that SoundCloud wants to look at adding. Continue, yada, yada, yada. Master the track super fast. You download it, boom, done. In both cases, this was an extremely short, very straightforward, easy to use. Both interfaces were very, very clean. No complaints up until this point. Now we're going to go through the results. So let's go into our Logic profile. So we have our pre-master. All right. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of have like a selection of kind of where the beat drop is, and I'll just play a little bit of the original, and then I have an A, B, and C. Ooh, it's like a surprise. The reveal will be at the end. You'll have no idea. So this is a blind mastering, so you guys can really hear it and be like, okay, what really just, I want you to, if you have a good set of headphones, I want you to really listen to it, and I want you to decide. Maybe you can drop in the comments what you thought was the best. So anyway, here's a little bit of the pre-master. And you're going to get very sick of this song, and my apologies for that. Okay, and as you can see, and you can tell already now, we have our 3 different mastered platforms, you can tell by looking at the WAV files right away that we have some whole lot of compression going on there. Okay, so you can tell just by looking at it that they've been mastered. So here is the same section, and this is the A master program now. And C. Okay, so and I'm gonna go through it again, but as you can tell, a huge difference between my original pre-master. Now, in terms of getting the track ready, I made sure that they recommended between 3 and 6 decibels for headroom. I gave it 6. Lots of headroom. That was the recommended thing for my pre-master. You just want to make sure that your master channel is no higher than -6. That's what I did to get it ready for the track. And I removed, well, there was nothing on my mix bus anyway, but you want to remove everything from there. Okay, so again, I'm going to go through the A, B, and C. So here's A. Okay, and there you have it. Okay, so those are the 3 different masters, and I'll go over at the end there when I have my reveal what I did in Ozone. Okay, so the big reveal. So, and I'm just going with my straight up my ears, and the results were actually really surprising on this. So my master, okay, my isotope master is A. Okay, the first one, which I thought sounded really good. At the time, I thought I did a pretty good job, but I didn't really have a reference. Okay, B was the SoundCloud master. Okay, so B is SoundCloud, and C is LANDR. Okay, so now what do I think between the 3 of them? Personally, I thought SoundCloud was the best. In fact, I thought both LANDR and SoundCloud blew my master out of the water. I thought there was a pretty significant difference. So, which is really interesting that artificial intelligence, now, is it that I haven't worked with Ozone enough, and, maybe I didn't work with the EQ enough? Hard to say. But, and this is only one track, I'd have to try, a bunch of different tracks, but to have an artificial intelligence program analyze your song, spit it out, sounding better than what you've done is a bit of an eye-opener for me. So I thought both handled it really, really well. I thought that there was nothing wrong with the LANDR. It was really, really well balanced. I just thought that the SoundCloud one had a little bit more, I don't know, there was a little more energy in there, a little more crispness, a little bit more, low end. I thought overall the balance was better. It just sounded really, really good. So for me in this mastering, artificial intelligence things, SoundCloud won, and I would say LANDR very, very close second. So I think either one of these, if you don't know the first thing about mastering, you don't have any mastering program, I'd say give it a try, give it a go. And I was pretty darn impressed with what I heard. Remember, it's not going to fix mistakes in your mix. Your mix has to be good. You have to be really happy with your mix. Going forward, I might still use Ozone just to kind of reference my track and listen to it and make sure that I'm kind of getting it where I want, and then remove it for the final bounce before I spit it out. But SoundCloud looking forward is looking really good to me. I was pretty impressed, and certainly significantly better than my original mix. But I'd be curious to see what you guys had to say in the comments. So leave in the comments what you thought was the best between the three, and I'd love to hear what you thought. Now, going into Ozone, and I don't know, there's probably like Ozone 10 by now. I'm using Ozone 6. I'm old school. I hate changing software. If something works, to me, there's no changing it. Now, there's tons of presets. I always start with a preset. I don't care what people say. People, there's all these like people bad mouthing, never use a preset. I always start with a preset, almost always, because usually there's thought that's gone in. It's not just somebody who's rolled the dice and said, man, I don't know, this sounds like a preset. They've thought about it. So I took a preset, and this is a couple of years ago, and then I tweaked it, changed the preset, never leave it in its original form, change it, and I created my own kind of preset. So I took an existing preset, tweaked it slightly, and this is what I came up with. So what is it doing? We got a little bit of EQ, which is just like a high shelf. We have a tiny little bit of saturation on this band here, very, very small about. We have a little bit of a stereo spread. And then, of course, we have our limiter. There's 4 kind of settings that you can go on the limiter. I've tried all 4 of these like just an unlimited number of times, and IRC2 was always, for whatever reason, sounding the best to me. So this is what I use. So I throw it in there. I leave a little bit of a ceiling. Some people do 0.1 decibels. I do 0.5. There's a whole debating about that, and that's it. So again, I think LANDR and SoundCloud did really well. But there you go. In a nutshell, that's mastering. Let's have some final thoughts. Are mastering engineers that have their own studios worth the money that you spend on them? I would say absolutely. Because ultimately it comes down to experience, and these people have invested a huge amount of time and money in equipment, and because they've heard so many different projects, is anything going to be able to compete with someone who just has an incredible amount of experience and fantastic set of ears? Doubtful. However, if you're like me and you're producing your own content and you just don't have the budget and the funds to lay down a whole bunch of cash to a mastering engineer, these services really, I think, are an excellent alternative. I was very surprised with how well they performed in this test. Now, this was just a 1-song test. Some of you might have experience. I'd love to know if you have. Drop something in the comments. If you chose a different one than me out of the results that was your favorite, drop it in the comments. And if you're using other programs that I don't know about and they work for you, again, let me know what you're using. But I think going forward, artificial intelligence is kind of scary how good it's getting. And to be able to balance a project and be able to take something that you've done and make it sound a whole lot better, really, to me, is worth the amount of money that you're spending on these services. So SoundCloud, again, I thought was the winner, and I thought LANDR was a very, very close second. Another one to check out is, I think it's called eMastered. I didn't compare it for this particular project, but maybe something down the road I will look into. Get your music sounding good. Try to do something every day. Keep making music, keep composing, keep trying new things. Stay safe, stay positive, and I'll catch you in the next one.